The details behind Catherine's shock absence from Royal Ascot. Did we see a new member of the royal family this week? And what will we see?
After months of whispered speculation and carefully guarded appearances, the truth has finally surfaced. Kate Middleton has given birth to a secret fourth child. But what has truly shaken the world isn't just the birth itself. It's what she said afterward. A simple, heartbreaking confession uttered in private has now erupted into a storm that's rattling the royal institution. Hidden emotions, pressure from the crown, and personal sacrifice collide in a deeply emotional chapter of Kate's life. But what pain was she carrying behind that perfect royal smile? Stay tuned. The hidden royal arrival, Kate Middleton's secret birth. For years, Catherine, better known to the world as Kate Middleton, has been admired for her grace under pressure.
As a mother, just getting used to leaving my own child at the school gates, it is clear to me that it takes a whole community to help raise a child.
From glamorous public appearances to early morning school drop-offs, she has walked the tightrope between royal duty and motherhood with remarkable poise. As the wife of the future king and mother to Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, her life has played out in front of flashing cameras and relentless headlines. Yet, through it all, Catherine remained composed, always smiling, always measured, always the picture of royal calm. But what the public didn't see was how much of that calm came at a cost. By early 2025, something subtle had begun to change. Catherine, usually present at key royal events and charitable outings, started stepping back from public life. Fewer appearances, shorter engagements, a quiet shift that didn't go unnoticed by those closest to her. Inside the palace, staff whispered about her absence. Some noticed her growing tiredness. Others saw how carefully she avoided the press. But the truth was carefully guarded. Catherine was pregnant with a fourth child. Unlike previous royal births, this one was wrapped in silence. There were no official announcements, no hints from royal insiders, and no media frenzy. For the first time, Catherine and William made a choice to shield this moment entirely from public view. After years of dealing with endless scrutiny and personal invasions, they wanted something sacred: privacy. The decision wasn't just about avoiding the press. It was about reclaiming control over a moment that should have belonged to them as a family, not to the headlines. When the time finally came, the birth did not resemble the royal deliveries of the past. It reportedly happened at St. Mary's Hospital in London, but far from the usual crowd of photographers and reporters. Catherine gave birth in a quiet, private wing, with only a small medical team and Prince William by her side. No cameras, no waving from hospital steps, no media circus. And the public? They knew nothing, not the gender, not the name, not even the fact that the child had been born. But what followed the birth, those intimate, quiet moments, revealed something even more powerful than any royal announcement could. As Catherine held her newborn for the first time, surrounded by silence and calm, something inside her broke open. Those present say she looked different, still strong, but deeply emotional. And then, softly, she turned to William and said something that would leave those who heard it stunned. It wasn't a political statement. It wasn't meant for headlines. It was a whisper from a woman who had given everything: her time, her energy, her peace of mind, for the sake of her family and the crown. That moment, brief and raw, revealed a side of Catherine rarely seen. For so long she had been the steady hand in a storm, the smiling face at formal engagements, the mother who juggled royal expectations with playdates and bedtime stories. But now, with 4 children and a role that demanded constant presence, even she couldn't ignore how heavy it had all become. Her confession wasn't about weakness, it was about truth. It came from a place of exhaustion, love, and longing. A need to be heard, if only by one person. Those closest to her say she had reached a turning point, one where the lines between duty and identity began to blur, one where being the Duchess no longer gave her space to simply be a mother. And even though the world never heard her exact words, the moment they were spoken left a permanent mark. Because behind the quiet birth of a hidden child was a louder realization. The woman who had carried so much for so long was finally allowing herself to feel, to be vulnerable, to be human. And in the quiet aftermath of that powerful moment came a mother's confession. But what did she say, and why has it stirred whispers across royal circles ever since? Stay with us. The confession that changed everything. In mid-2025, a quiet storm began to brew inside the walls of the royal palace, one not caused by scandal or politics, but by 4 simple words. A deeply personal confession from Catherine, Princess of Wales, slipped into public view, not from an official royal statement, but through someone close to her. And once it surfaced, it spread like wildfire. Within hours, every major media outlet picked it up. TV stations interrupted their schedules. Social media platforms exploded with hashtags. Newspapers printed the words in bold across their front pages. The confession was short, but its impact was enormous. "I can't stand alone." The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. The public, long used to seeing Catherine as a symbol of calm elegance and quiet strength, suddenly saw something else, something far more human. She wasn't breaking down. She wasn't walking away, but she was telling the truth. The burden was growing heavier, and even she couldn't carry it forever. Mothers across the world felt her words in their bones. Many shared stories of their exhaustion, of the quiet moments no one sees, when holding everything together feels impossible. Support poured in from every corner. Celebrities, commentators, and everyday people took to social media to say the same thing. "We see you, and we understand." But perhaps the most surprising reaction came from within the royal family itself. Catherine's rare moment of honesty seemed to shake loose years of tightly held silence. Conversations that had once been avoided were suddenly impossible to ignore. Behind palace doors, discussions began about expectations, mental health, family roles, and most of all, about the future of the monarchy. Since marrying Prince William in 2011, Catherine has spent over a decade reshaping how the public views royalty. She chose causes that mattered to families and children. She spoke about parenting, education, and mental wellness, not in distant, formal ways, but in heartfelt, consistent efforts. She didn't just show up for photo ops. She listened, she learned, and she built trust. And in her personal life, she made equally powerful impressions. People still remember her brushing Charlotte's hair during a tennis match, or crouching patiently beside Prince Louis at major royal events. These weren't grand gestures. They were everyday parenting moments. But they told the world, "I'm not just a princess. I'm a mother too." Now, with the arrival of a 4th child, a secret kept carefully hidden from the press, the weight of her responsibilities grew even more. No public announcement. No royal birth photos. Not even a formal confirmation. Instead, Catherine and William chose to keep this chapter private. Some believed it was about shielding their child. Others saw it as the couple reclaiming control in a life that's constantly scrutinized. Either way, the decision marked a turning point. And that's when Catherine's words echoed even louder. "I can't stand alone." Not a cry for sympathy, but a declaration that no one, no matter their title or role, can carry everything without support. Her message was raw, honest, and deeply relatable. For a royal family often seen as cold and distant, this vulnerability struck a chord. Catherine had once followed tradition to the letter. After Prince George's birth in 2013, she stood on hospital steps in full makeup, heels on, waving to the press just hours after delivery. That polished image remained etched in the public memory. But today's Catherine is different. She's open. She's real. She speaks openly about the pressures of motherhood.
Nothing can really prepare you for the sheer, overwhelming experience of what it means to become a mother. It is full of complex emotions of joy, exhaustion, love and worry, all mixed together.
The importance of mental health and the strength it takes to ask for help. And in doing so, she has done more than just speak her truth. She has challenged long-standing royal expectations. Her confession didn't signal failure. It revealed growth. It demanded understanding. And now, it's forcing the palace and the public to look at the future in a whole new way. Because what came next wasn't just support. It was the beginning of reshaping the monarchy's structure. But what exactly changed, and who resisted the shift? Stay with us. Rebuilding the royal framework, from tradition to transformation. Catherine's words didn't just echo in headlines. They rattled the palace halls. What seemed like a brief, emotional admission soon sparked deep conversations behind the scenes. Long-held customs were suddenly being questioned. The way royal duties had always been handled was no longer seen as unchangeable. There was a quiet but growing understanding that the old ways might not fit the modern world anymore. And at the center of it all were William and Catherine. William had already hinted at wanting to do things differently, less formality, more humanity. But after Catherine's public honesty, his vision became clearer. He wasn't just thinking about how to modernize the monarchy. He was ready to act. Those close to the couple said they were even considering reshaping how responsibilities were shared, possibly bringing in younger royals like Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie to lighten the load. What they were imagining wasn't just a reorganization of duties, it was a reimagining of the monarchy itself. Something more like a family than a firm. A structure that didn't bury people under pressure, but gave them room to grow, to rest, and to raise their children with care. Outside the palace, the ripple effect was just as powerful. Catherine's moment of vulnerability reached millions. In a world used to seeing royals polished and perfect, her honesty made her feel more relatable than ever. Parents, everywhere, began sharing their own struggles on social media, feeling tired, overwhelmed, unsure. For the first time in a long time, a royal felt truly human. She wasn't judged for being imperfect, she was praised for being real, and with that came a shift in how the public viewed the entire royal family. It was no longer just about tradition and pageantry. Now, people were asking deeper questions. Should royals have to hide their pain? Is it fair to expect perfection from people born into a role they never chose? Catherine's honesty didn't just earn sympathy, it sparked a national conversation. And while some defended the need for royal distance, many believed it was time for the monarchy to soften, to open up. Maybe the very idea of what it means to be royal needed to change. Meanwhile, Catherine and William focused on their home life. With the arrival of their new baby, the couple made a deliberate decision to protect their family's privacy. Unlike the highly public births of George, Charlotte, and Louis, this time, there were no photo ops on the hospital steps, no formal announcements beyond the basics. They weren't just changing how they worked, they were changing how they raised their children. There were whispers that the new baby might not be pushed into the royal spotlight the same way older siblings had been. William and Catherine seemed determined to let each child grow at their own pace, make their own choices, and maybe even walk away from royal duties altogether, if they wished. And in this, they were doing something truly radical. They were putting their children first. They weren't just following royal rules. They were bending them, reshaping them, sometimes ignoring them altogether. And by doing so, they were sending a quiet but powerful message. The future of the monarchy doesn't have to look like the past. Through the years, she has built a strong image of someone who is reliable, thoughtful, and loyal. Kate Middleton has grown into her role, not just as a royal, but as a respected figure in her own right. And now, with quiet determination, she's doing something even more remarkable. Could this be the beginning of a monarchy shaped by personal values over ancient rules? Keep watching. Kate Middleton, the heart behind the crown. Kate Middleton didn't grow up preparing for palace life. Her early years were grounded in normal routines, no tiaras, no royal wave lessons, and certainly no expectations of being watched by millions. So when she stepped into the royal spotlight after marrying Prince William, the adjustment was anything but simple. Every move she made, every word she spoke was suddenly under a microscope. Among the most difficult challenges she faced was public speaking. While some royals seemed to speak with ease, Kate's early appearances revealed her nerves.
You have all made me feel so welcome, and I feel hugely honoured to be here to see this wonderful centre.
She wasn't naturally comfortable in front of a crowd, but instead of hiding, she worked hard to improve. Over time, her voice became stronger, her presence more natural, and with each speech, the public got to see more of her real personality, calm, thoughtful, and relatable. Her relationship with Prince Harry once symbolized unity within the royal family. Alongside Meghan Markle and Prince William, they became a powerful team under the royal foundation, taking on causes like mental health, veteran support, and animal conservation. But when Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in 2020, the dynamic changed drastically. The Fab Four was no more. Projects stalled, roles shifted, and the pressure grew heavier on Kate and William. Still, Kate moved forward with quiet strength, stepping into a larger role with grace and determination. By December 2021, she had grown beyond the shy newcomer the world once knew. That Christmas, she hosted Together at Christmas, a carol event meant to lift spirits after the heavy toll of the pandemic. But what captured hearts wasn't just the celebration. It was her surprise piano performance alongside singer Tom Walker. Few knew she could play, and that moment revealed a new side of her. Creative, brave, and deeply human. The public connected with her even more after that. She wasn't just a royal figure anymore, she felt real. Then, in 2024, everything shifted again. Health concerns struck both Kate and King Charles. While the king faced his own diagnosis, Kate underwent abdominal surgery and stayed at the London clinic. People held their breath. When she finally returned home, a Mother's Day photo with her children sent a powerful message. Despite everything, her bond with her family remained unshaken. But later that March, in a video recorded at Windsor, she revealed something even more personal, her battle with cancer.
Tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment.
It was a raw, emotional moment. She spoke with honesty and quiet strength, showing the same grace she always had, even in one of the hardest moments of her life. Through it all, Kate has redefined her role, not just as a future queen, but as a woman who leads with warmth and resilience. She remains deeply involved in causes like early childhood development and works to create a sense of normalcy for her children, juggling royal obligations with everyday routines like school drop-offs and family outings. She's building a path that blends tradition with authenticity. But if you thought that was impressive for a woman so full of energy and purpose, just wait until you discover what came next. It's even more unbelievable. Modernizing the monarchy from within. Over the years, William and Kate have quietly transformed how the world views the monarchy. Instead of clinging to rigid formality, they've chosen a path that feels warmer and more relatable. Rather than keeping every detail of their personal life hidden, they've shared glimpses that feel real, walking their children to school without pomp, showing up at local events, and making space for conversations with everyday people. These choices make them seem more like a modern couple trying to raise a family, just with royal titles. Even within their home, the shift is clear. Gone are the stiff traditions of long royal dinners and formal rules. In their place are relaxed, intimate family meals focused on connection rather than protocol. Slowly but steadily, the age-old customs are giving way to a softer, more flexible style of royal life. William has also embraced digital platforms to reach people where they are. He's hosted virtual meetings, appeared in online charity events, and used the internet to extend the palace walls. These actions don't just modernize the royal image, they humanize it. He moves carefully, though. A change in the monarchy can spark backlash. So, William chooses to evolve the system step by step. One of his biggest successes has been the Heads Together campaign, which tackled the stigma around mental health and encouraged people to seek help without shame. Much of this forward thinking comes from Diana's legacy. William continues to support youth-focused programs like the Diana Award, honoring young changemakers and amplifying their voices. He visits schools and youth centers, not just for photo ops, but to listen and learn. His interactions are heartfelt, driven by a deep desire to understand and connect. But inside the palace walls, things aren't always so smooth. His decision to reduce Queen Camilla's role, reportedly to honor Diana, sparked whispers of division. That break from tradition revealed deeper generational tensions. Charles and Camilla represent the old guard. William, Kate, and their children symbolize the future. As the monarchy attempts to evolve, it also faces the risk of internal cracks becoming public. Balancing progress with tradition has never been more fragile. Now we turn to Queen Elizabeth's quiet choice. Was her silence a signal or a strategy? Keep watching. The Queen's quiet vision. Queen Elizabeth II had long imagined a future where Princess Catherine wouldn't just stand beside Prince William as his wife, she'd be a force holding the monarchy together. To the late Queen, Catherine was more than a future Queen consort. She was a steady hand, a calming presence, and someone who could guide the royal family with strength and grace. Over time, Elizabeth quietly began grooming Catherine for that very role. Invitations to private meetings, quiet mentorship, and subtle inclusion in long-term planning. These were signs of the Queen's deep trust, and while much of this happened behind palace walls, it wasn't unnoticed. Tension slowly brewed, particularly for Queen Camilla. After years of controversy, public criticism, and personal sacrifice, Camilla had finally earned her place beside King Charles. She had worked tirelessly to prove herself, loyal, dignified, and ready for the role. But learning that Queen Elizabeth may have always envisioned Catherine as the monarchy's true anchor was likely unsettling. It wasn't just about titles, it was about legacy. Princess Anne later revealed comments from the Queen that hinted at a much longer vision, one that reached beyond Charles and Camilla's reign. For Camilla, who had climbed every step the hard way, this quiet endorsement of Catherine may have felt like her efforts were being overshadowed. Catherine's rise was calm but undeniable. Her popularity, natural charm, and discipline made her widely admired. While Camilla fought to be accepted, Catherine was being quietly prepared. Thanks for watching. What do you think about Princess Catherine's surprising confession? Share your opinions in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.